How many times you painted your nails with your favorite color or with a beautiful gradient and then the stamping part just goes wrong? You don't like the color, the placement wasn't right, or you simply made a mistake and you need to wipe it out and start all over again. I have solutions for you on this video, only using regular polish, so you can wipe those mistakes out without messing up your base color. So our first solution is going to be using peel-off base coat. So here I'm doing my normal process when I do a manicure, and I will apply a coat of this holographic pink as a base color. You can apply 1 or 2 coats depending on the opacity of your polish. After that, we're going to apply a coat of peel-off base coat. The peel-off base coat is a water-based top coat, and it's super light to apply, and this will create a barrier between your base and the stamping part. So now we're going to put that barrier to test and see if we can erase the stamping parts that we don't need. So let's say for this one I only want to keep the leaf, so I'm just going to dip my brush into acetone and I'm going to start erasing those parts. This method is great for small details or for some things that you need to erase that are very close to the pattern or the figure that you want to keep. So this gives you a lot of precision, and the acetone won't melt your base. It will stay beautiful and shiny, and you can simply erase them. How cool is that? So now we're gonna do the same thing but with a Q-tip. So this is gonna work best when you have bigger figures that you want to erase, so you can just go ahead with the Q-tip and erase those specifically. For the full nail patterns, the most convenient way would be just to dip a wipe into acetone and just completely erase the whole thing. Here I'm also doing another test with white, so you could see that it works for black and white, which are one of the most pigmented colors for stamping polishes. I'm just erasing everything so we can start all over again, and you can see it's untouched, super beautiful, shiny, and you don't have to start over. For the second test, we're gonna use alcohol, and the base is the same, it's the peel-off base coat as well. So alcohol and acetone cannot penetrate that barrier, so it really acts like a physical barrier. But the alcohol is not as good as the acetone. So you can see here that I'm going several times over the same spot. So if you want to use a more gentle product instead of acetone, which is pretty strong, you could still use alcohol, but you will need a little bit more effort, at least when you're using the brush, because the brush doesn't allow you to have a lot of pressure on the nail. So that's why it's gonna take a little longer, but you could still get the same results. Now, if you're using a Q-tip, you're gonna find out that it's a little bit easier because you have more control of the pressure, and the area that's touching the figure is a little bit bigger. So you can see that with a few rubs, you're gonna get those figures completely erased. So this works perfectly, same with acetone. It takes a little few more rubs, but it's basically the same. Now for the full nail pattern, we also have this wipe dipped into alcohol, and you can see that the removal is pretty easy. It takes a few more rubs if you compare it with acetone, but it gets the job done, and the base is untouched. And for the white part, as you see here, I did a very light touch at the beginning and it didn't remove much, but then with the few other rubs, it takes all the polish away. Now consider that this is immediately after stamping, but if you leave the polish a little longer, as you see in those 2 fingers that they were the first that I did, it's gonna take a little more rubs and some more time to erase them completely. But here's our base, untouched, completely perfect, so we can continue with the stamping later. Now our second solution will be using quick dry top coat. So this is for the ones that don't have peel-off base coat, but they want similar results. So for this example, I'm just gonna do a gradient. We all know that gradients are very complicated. They take a long time to do, and it's a bit more complex than just painting your nails with one color. So we don't want to waste all that effort, and we certainly don't want to do them again. So after we completed the gradient, which is normally 2 or 3 coats, we're just gonna apply 1 coat of the quick dry top coat and let it dry completely. So this is also gonna be our barrier, and now we're gonna test the same designs that I did previously with alcohol. So I'm starting with alcohol because I know that acetone is very abrasive and it's gonna melt all the layers. So we're gonna test and see if alcohol can get us the same result. So you can see here that I have to rub a lot over the parts that I want to erase. So it's still possible, but it requires a little bit more work and time. So far, I don't see much difference because I'm using a very light touch with the brush. So I think for that one works perfectly. Now with the Q-tip, we can apply a little bit more pressure on the base. So we'll get rid of the mistakes a little bit quicker. As you see here, and the Q-tip, it's absorbing all the polish that we don't want there on the nail. So it's working great. And for the one that has like a bigger pattern, I'm just using the wipe with alcohol as well. And so far, I don't see any difference. It has a little bit more resistance in comparison with the peel off base coat, but it removes all the polish that we don't want there. So this is a great alternative, a great technique for the ones who don't have the other product. And with white, it's the same thing. Just make sure that you're applying the right pressure. It needs a little bit more pressure than acetone, of course, but for this one, the best option will be alcohol. Now let's see if with acetone we can still get away with something. So when we're using the brush, we're still gonna melt part of the top coat. As you see here, it's not perfectly smooth. We got a little bit of a yellow spot on the tip, but so far it's a good alternative if you don't have anything else. You could still make it work with a brush and a very light touch. With the Q-tip, you will tend to go and apply more pressure, so that doesn't work. As you see here, it penetrates all the other layers, so you're gonna mess up your base, that's for sure. And same with the full nail pattern. So if we have the wipe completely dipped in acetone, and if we go there, we're gonna just start removing all the layers, the top coat, and the gradient that we beautifully did. So you have to be careful about that. So far, the light touch with the brush showing the pink is not that bad if you're really in a pinch and you need a solution. Now I want to add a few notes on removal process. So this is water, and we're gonna use it to remove the peel off base coat. So remember that the peel off base coat only gets dissolved by water. Acetone and alcohol don't do anything for that. So then after you apply the water and remove the first layer, you go with your acetone and remove your polish as normal. So after this experiment, the peel off base coat is what works best with alcohol and acetone, and it leaves your base completely intact. So that's the way I would do it if you had those materials. Now with the quick dry top coat is a great alternative if you don't have the other one. It works best with alcohol. I got similar results with alcohol, but it doesn't work with acetone because it will ruin your base. So keep that in mind for your next manicure. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.